Okie doke. Okay, so I am minimizing Camtasia. Hold on here, everybody. Bear with me a second. Minimize that. Okay, so there's two sites that are used primarily to buy liens. The first one is Grant Street Group, and they mentioned that to you over the weekend, and I was really surprised why they didn't just pull it up and show you how to do this. But I don't know. So Grant Street Group, they don't deal with people like us. Their customers really are the cities and the counties and other municipalities. And their site is really kind of tricky to navigate. So what you have to do, it's grantstreet.com, and you go to tax collection. And then you scroll down, and they just changed their site this past weekend. So prior to this, it didn't even look like this. So you go to tax collection, and then you scroll down, and you go under clients we serve. And it gives you a little narrative here about what they do, how they collect tax collection for a number of municipalities. And you have to scroll down, keep scrolling down to where it says tax collectors. And what it lists, these are all the counties that they work with and they collect taxes for, and then they auction the tax liens off. So on the left side, these will be all the counties within Florida, and on the right side are Arizona. And what you're looking for under a county is the county held tax certificate sale. So I'm just going to scroll down and you'll see there's quite a few of them. Brevard County, Broward County, Charlotte County, Citrus County. They even have the city of Baltimore is in here. But notice they do not have tax certificate sale. And that's because the city of Baltimore does not have what's called over-the-counter sales of tax liens. They just auction off properties. So we're not going to go to Baltimore for this exercise. Highland County, Hillsborough County, Indian River. And I'm just going to pick one by random. And I'm going to pick Hillsborough County, Florida. And only because I know Hillsborough County is the Tampa Bay area. So you go into the county held certificate sales site. And at this point, if I scroll down, if you know in the lower left-hand corner, you see how it's powered by Grant Street Group. So Grant Street actually runs the software for these counties to be able to sell off these liens. What I suggest you do, you'll have to go in and you'll have to register. And it's a fairly straightforward process to register. Create an ID, a corporate name. Those of you that actually do business in an LLC, this is where you would enter your LLC's information. It's also going to ask you for your banking information. Some people buy and do business with a self-directed IRA. This is where you would enter that information. So I'm not going to go through that. That's pretty straightforward. But I am going to go on and sign in myself, and it'll block out my password, I think. Let me see, Hillsborough. Here we go. All right. So I'm gonna sign in. Come on. Okay. So this is what the site looks like for buying county held tax certificates. It's really this simple. First of all, you can go over here and you can choose a year. So let's just choose ones for 2014. So these are relatively new liens that did not sell at the previous auction. So we're going to select that. Now you see where it says use code. Each county in Florida. Oh, let me back up for a second. Let me tell you why I chose Florida. And most of the over-the-counter liens that I buy are in Florida, Colorado. I've done some in Arizona as well. But Florida pays 18%. I mean, and it's online. It's very easy. So I like to go where the fruit hangs really low. So this is a place where you can go and it's really easy. So these use codes, every county has a use code of what the properties are, and it's different for every county in Florida. As as you get more familiar with this, you'll start to be able to narrow down what the use codes are. In fact, we'll be able to do it here in just a couple minutes. Notice the purchase amount. So before you start buying any type of a lien, it's a good idea to have a budget of how much you want to spend. And because you can buy a lien all the way in this particular county up to, what's that, $15,121. Myself, I like to buy tax liens. I usually set a range somewhere between $500 to $700. You can pick any range that you want, but I like to buy tax liens in that amount. The next thing that I really recommend, excuse me, I'm really kind of hoarse tonight. I recommend that you always put some type of value in the assessed value column. In Florida, very different from Maryland, the assessed values of property is really cheap in Florida. So if you can find properties that have tax assessed values between $10,000 to $40,000, those are properties that usually turn over very, very quickly. So I usually set an assessed value between $10,000, and I usually don't even narrow down the upper limit. I like properties that start at about $10,000 because I don't want anything that's worth less than $10,000. Okay, so on the left side, and if you notice, if I were to change this value, right now there's 4 pages of properties. If I change this upper limit to, let's say, 20,000, see how the page refreshes. And to now it's only 2 pages. So there's a couple other fields here that are really important that I'm not going to change right now, but certificates issued, certificates redeemed, and certificates outstanding. I'm going to come back to that in just a minute. Okay, so if you notice now there's 2 pages of properties. There's still quite a few properties to try to look at, but I think we can get a pretty good exercise. Up here in the header, you can sort. So I want to sort from low to high, from $500 to $700. These are the actual purchase amounts for a lien. So let's look at the first one. You click on the little plus, and it opens up, and all the information that you need about this particular lien is right here. So it gives you the year that this particular lien is for 2014, and the issue date is a very important date. So it's issued on 6/1/2015. And it tells you what the interest rate is. It's 18%. So that's an annual interest rate. So this thing is earning 1.5% per month. So if someone came in, if we went in and bought this lien right now for $500.09, we would be earning 1.5% until the owner comes down to the courthouse or goes online and pays the tax, which is called redeeming the lien. So it's 1.5% per month that you're actually earning. So a couple things that are really important here. It tells you who the owner is. So Hattie Jones owns it. And this is, even though Hattie lives at 2308 9th Avenue in Tampa, the property that you are getting the lien on is 3407 15th in Tampa. It gives you the legal address, it tells you the tax balance, and it gives you the market value, which may or may not be accurate. But the assessed value is pretty good. That's pretty good to know. See, now we've got a use code of 1,000. But we still don't know what 1,000 means. We don't know if this is a single family house. We don't know if it's a lot. It could be a commercial building. We don't know. But we're going to find out in just a minute. If you see down here at the bottom, this is something that's really important. The number of certificates that have been issued. 7 certificates have been issued. So that means that Hattie has gotten behind on her taxes 7 times within the last probably 15 years. So she was delinquent. I mean, it could have been a month, it could have been a year, but she's been delinquent 7 times. But she's gone down and she has redeemed or paid 4 times. And right now, there are 3 liens that are outstanding. So what that tells me is, Hattie gets a little bit behind on her bills, but if I buy this lien for $500.09, there's a pretty good probability that Hattie is going to redeem, and then I'll earn my 1.5% per month for however long it takes for her to come down and pay off that lien. And for me, I'd like her to, if I want to earn 18% for a year, I'd like her to not come pay for a year or 2 years. It's fine with me. So we don't know anything about what this property looks like. So what I usually do, first thing I do is I copy this address, and I'm going to paste that into Google here in just a minute. But before I do that, down at the bottom, it does give you a link to the tax collector's website. So I like to go there first. And every county's tax collector site is going to look different. And there's a lot of good information on here that you'll start to get very familiar with, especially if you start doing tax deed investing. But for liens, you don't need to do an awful lot of time-consuming research. You just want to make sure that there's a building there and that the person seems to come and pay off their liens. So this tells us that these are the periods for 2012, she didn't pay. 2013, she didn't pay. 2014, we know she didn't pay because that's the year that we're trying to buy the lien. And 2015 is due. If you notice, Florida gives them a long time to pay taxes before they start foreclosing on them. So scroll down a little bit more, and you notice it gives us a map here of the location. You can take this little man and you can drag it in there, and sometimes it'll give you a good street view. I don't find it to be real accurate, but there's one other link on this page that's really important. It's the link to the property appraisers page. So I like to go there. Notice now we're in a different page. And the property appraisers page gives you a pretty good street view of the property. See Google's here, and they got a barbecue grill there. So it looks like it's this lot right here, but we still don't know for sure. So I'm still looking over here on the left, looking at more information about the property use code. Okay, so this tells us what the code means. 1000 means it's a vacant commercial lot. Everybody see that? 1000 means it's vacant, and then the COMM means it's commercial. So it's a commercial lot. So it means somebody could build a store. Maybe there was a store there at one time, and it got into such bad shape they had to demolish it. So it's a vacant commercial lot. The county says it's assessed at $19,000, which is fairly accurate for land, I find, in Florida. So the land is worth $19,000. Over here under this GIS map, that's not important what GIS stands for, but this is like a satellite view of the lot. See right here? So it's on North 15th Street and East 27th Avenue. Okay, let's see what else it tells us. It tells us the sales history of this lot. So notice it sold, last time it sold was in 2008. And it was sold using something that's called a quitclaim deed. And it was also sold in 2007 using a quitclaim deed. In 2004, it was sold using a TD, which is a tax deed. And then in 1948, the property changed hands by what's called a WD, which is a warranty deed. So that means that was a clean transaction. All those other transactions that took place were less than clean transactions. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that there's probably some kind of defects that are on the title that need to be cleared. Okay, so that's just information purposes only. All right, so one thing I'm going to do, so I'm going to go to Google, and remember how I copied the address. I'm going to paste it in, and I'm going to do a search here in Google. I like to do that because you'll get this window that pops up where it gives you a really good street view. So you open up the street view. Okay, and it corresponds to what we saw on the appraiser's page. And first thing I usually do is I do a 360-degree view of the neighborhood. Oh, so it is. Looks like it's a commercial area. Remember now, this is Florida. So things are going to look a little different in Florida. There's the fellas hanging out. Okay, so, you know, it's a busy street. I mean, it doesn't look like it's the greatest little area. But, so, that's it. So it looks like it's probably this lot right here. For me, I'd pass. That's probably not the kind of a lien that I would buy. So I want to go back. Let's find us another one. I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back. This was our original listing. I'm going to hit this minus, and let's go to the next one. Am I going too fast? Everybody with me?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. All right. So, hi, who just joined?
Chandra.
Hey, Chandra, how you doing? How you doing? Hey,
All right.
I don't know if you can see my screen or not.
Hold on.
Okay, you go ahead. Nope, I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep driving on. You got to catch up. Okay, so we're looking at the second lien in Hillsborough County, Florida, which is near Tampa. Okay, so this one, it gives us a property address. So the first thing I do is I copy the property address because I'm going to paste that into Zillow. I'm going to paste it into Google. Okay, our market value is pretty good. The assessed value is $17,000. So look at this one again. So this person, it's actually owned by a trustee. It's owned by an LLC. So they've been behind 5 times. They've redeemed twice, and they've got 3 certificates outstanding. So once again, on the surface, this looks like it could be a decent investment for us to make, or me to make, 18% on my money. But I still don't have enough information. So I'm going to go to the tax collector's website again. And what I'm really looking for in the tax collector's website, the one thing that you want to look for, it'll stand out, is if it's homestead. Personally, I don't buy any homestead liens because homestead means that, realize Florida, a lot of people go there that are seniors, and the state of Florida doesn't want to take homes from seniors. So they give them extended periods of time if they get behind, and it just makes it more difficult for me as an investor to get my money. I mean, I'll get my money, it just takes longer, and sometimes the interest rate is not as high, so I just stay away from homestead properties. And it'll tell you on this screen, on the property assessor's page, if it's homestead or not. It would be almost in red. You couldn't miss it. All right, so what else is it telling me here? So they've been behind in 2012, they've been behind 2013, been behind 2014, and they're behind for 2015 in their taxes. Okay, the property appraiser's page. We're going to go there. Looks like it's another lot. Okay, but look at our use code. So now this use code C is 0100, which means it's zoned for a single family residential home. There probably was a house there at one time, but what happens is a lot of these properties get torn down. So I'm going to go over here back to Google, and I'm going to paste it in, that address, just have a quick look at it. Okay, so when this happens to you, when you paste an address into Google and you don't get that window that popped up with the little street view, I pass myself, because it's telling me that, first of all, we don't have a good aerial view of the property. So remember I said all along, for me, I go for the low-hanging fruit. I don't like to work real hard, especially when it comes to trying to buy a lien. So this is one I would pass. So I'd go back to my Hillsborough County, I'd close it, and I'd go to the next one. Now, what you're going to start doing, you're going to start being able to do this really quickly. And the way I start really narrowing them down quickly, I start looking for the ones that have the highest assessed value. So this is 10,000. We'll just go through this one page kind of quickly and see. We'll find one with a real high assessed value. 10,000. Oh, this is not bad. 21,000, 18,000. That's not bad. And there have been 7 certificates issued, 3 have been redeemed, and 4 outstanding. So on the surface, and it's $516 to buy this lien, on the surface, this one looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do really quickly, I'm just going to copy the property address. Let's see if we can find it here in Google. Ah, good. So we got a street view. So I'm going to click on the little window for the street view. And then we're going to do a 360-degree look at the neighborhood. Okay, not bad. So we got a property here. So it's probably this one that's behind the tree. More than likely. Okay, so I'm looking at the neighborhood. Not a bad neighborhood. Uh-oh, across the street. What's this one back here behind? Okay, it's not bad. Oh, I see some signs on this fence here which indicates something. Maybe something's been foreclosed or abandoned. You know, so on the surface, this is not the greatest neighborhood. Would you agree? I mean, it looks okay. It looks okay. Okay. So for me, my criteria when I buy a lien on anything, I don't care where it is, I'm always looking for 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses that are at least 1,200 square feet. I don't want anything anywhere. Florida, I don't care if it's Colorado, wherever. Less than 1,200 square feet is a real small house. And if you do end up buying it or getting it, you're going to be stuck with it for a while because it's just too small. So, but 3-bedroom, 2 baths, 1,200 square feet, you know, in decent neighborhoods, and maybe in a future call or something, I can talk to you about how you narrow down a neighborhood. In a decent neighborhood, you can get rid of those kind of properties all day long. So this is another property that I would probably pass on. Okay. All right. So if you notice, so there's a bunch more. There's 2 pages of properties here. I mean, you could put some criteria in here on the left where maybe I only want properties where there have been at least 2 certificates redeemed. See how I slid this over to the left? It didn't narrow it down very much. Maybe I want to narrow down how many certificates are outstanding. From, I don't want 10, maybe I just want 5. That didn't narrow it down very much. Certificates issued. Let's try to, I'm trying to narrow this thing down some. Wow, it's not. Okay, I tell you what, this will narrow it down. I only want properties that are assessed at $20,000 to $50,000. There we go. All right. Now let's just look at a couple of these. I'm going to start at the bottom. So these are probably better properties, just so you have an idea of Florida. Real quick, I'm going to copy this address and I'm going to paste it into Google. Am I going too fast?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. So let's paste this one in.
Just fine.
Okay. All right. So here we go. We got a street view. And we also have a Zillow estimate. Actually, before I go into the street view, I didn't talk about Zillow. Let's go there. So Zillow says they have this thing called a Zestimate. They say this house is worth $54,000. And it'll rent for $950. The Zillow estimate, you know, you kind of take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I can show you in the future how you can really narrow it down. But hey, I would say it's at least $40,000, okay? But notice Zillow does not give you the street view of the property. They used to. They stopped doing that a few years ago. But what Zillow does tell me, it's a small house. I mean, it's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, but it's almost 1,200 square feet. For me, it doesn't meet my criteria. I mean, what you have to do in this game, you really have to set a criteria. You got to set a budget of how much you want to spend, and you set a specific criteria of what you want. And I never buy anything less than 3 bedroom, 2 bath. I just don't put my money into it. But my sweet spot is a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and when I pull up a picture in Zillow, if I see beach or I see a golf course, that's a home run for me. So that's just part of my buying criteria, and everybody has to set their buying criteria a little differently, but that's my criteria. All right, so I want to go back real quick. Let's take a good look at this place, and then I want to move on to something else. All right, look at that big patch of dirt. What does that tell you when you see that? This property.
It's been torn down.
You got it. So it's been demolished. And so realize, a lot of these properties, people have been behind on taxes for sometimes 5, 6, 7 years. So if there is a building there, it's going to be in either really bad shape, or it's been torn down, or sometimes you get really lucky, okay, and you get a gem. So, but let's look at the neighborhood. In California? California is a little different because California does not have liens. California is a deed state, so that means they foreclose and they go to sale. So that's a little different process. So this is, I'll tell you what they do next to California. They do this in Arizona all day long. You can buy liens online. So this is not really a great, I'm sorry?
Texas be the same? Would Texas be the same?
No, Texas is not. Texas is what's called a redeemable deed state. So it's not a lien state. Nevada, you're in Nevada. Nevada is a deed state. Around you, I don't know all of them right off the top of my head. But again, Florida is easy. So this is another one that I'd pass on myself. Okay? Okay, so let's get out of that one. So that is buying liens using Grant Street, grantstreet.com. You can go to any one of those counties and you can search exactly the same way. So there's one other company that does something similar to Grant Street, and they're called Real Auction. Real Auction, this is their website. So as you look at their website again, you notice there's no banner ads, there's nobody selling anything, because all of their customers again are counties and municipalities. So they don't make it easy for us as investors. So where you got to go, you have to go to client site, and then you go to county tax lien auctions. Now I'm going to leave this open for a second because Real Auction, there's several things that you can do on Real Auction. You can not only buy liens over the counter. So over the counter liens are ones where people didn't bid on them during the regular auction and the county took them back, and now they're just selling them to whoever wants them and giving them 18% a year interest. That's called an over-the-counter sale. But Real Auction also does foreclosure and tax deed auctions online, which I can't do in this session for you because that's pretty extensive. But they do the liens, and they also do what's called the tax deed application, which is probably about a 2.5-hour session for us to talk about that. But that's where the money is. Okay, that's where the big bucks are. So let's go to the county lien auctions. These are all the counties.
So yeah. If you go to Real Auction, then what's after that?
Real Auction, you go to client sites.
Client site, got it.
And then under client sites, then we go to county tax lien auctions. Now, what's really cool about Real Auction is they represent several states. Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Illinois, and Maryland. A couple counties here in Maryland. But if you notice in Maryland, Charles County and Harford County, the auction has ended. Maryland, because most of you on the call, I think, are from Maryland. Maryland is a really difficult state to buy tax liens and tax deeds. Very difficult for a number of reasons. Maryland has a really odd system, and I think it probably because it dates back to the colonial days, where they have what's called bidding up the premium. Let me cancel this. That I'll just leave it at it's hard. It's really hard. In fact, I stay away from Maryland as far as liens and tax deeds. I mean, I'll go to some foreclosure sales, but I don't buy any liens in Maryland. It's just too difficult. And again, I go to where it's easy. So the good thing about Real Auction, if you notice, they have, let's see if I can find one. They have a practice site that's really good. If I can find one. New Jersey is a really good state for tax lien investing as well. I bought a lot of liens in New Jersey because they have so many townships. I can't find a practice site. I'm sorry if I'm scrolling really fast here. Okay. See, under Florida, Florida's practice site, you can go there on your own, and you can like play around with like participating in a tax lien auction. I never go to tax lien auctions. I mean, I always buy the tax liens over the counter. I mean, why go to the auction? It doesn't make sense to me. So we're going to go to one of these counties. I'm going to do the same thing that I did. I got to drink some water. Excuse me a second. Okay, every place that's in orange, that means you can go right now and start buying some liens and start making 1.5% per month on your money or 18% a year. Like shopping on Amazon. So let's go to good old Duval County. Duval County is near Jacksonville. Notice the screen looks very different with Real Auction than it did from Grant Street. The one thing that I highly, highly recommend is that you go through and you read the bidding rules, the buying rules, go through their training, the tax certificate process, read all of that, and you'll become an expert on this in no time. So what I'm going to do, I got to actually log in. Oh, it's offline. Doggone it. Shoot. They're offline. So that means that they're going through some maintenance. So we can't do this one right now. Well, probably, I think all of realauction.com is probably down, but let's try. I'll go back. Let me see if I can go back. Palm Beach County is a tricky one because, you know, the homes there are so expensive. They actually require you to put up a deposit to even look at the liens that are for sale. It's not much. It's like $200. Let's see if we can get into Colorado. Denver and County. Let's see if we can get into this one. All right. Can we just look at some? The good thing about once you've registered with Real Auction, once you've gone in and registered, you can go through, see down here at the bottom where it says jump to. Once you've registered once, you can buy certificates in Arizona, Colorado, Nebraska, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. You can just jump around and buy liens. So one with one registration. Let's see if we can preview some items for sale. Oh, great. Okay, excellent. So this one is not down. So notice it's a little different look and feel from the other site. The good thing about real auction is that you can really set your criteria a lot different. Right now, it's pulled up everything that's for sale. Let me see. Bear with me 1 second, you all, because I might need to log in. I might need to log in. Let me see if this is going to do what I think. Okay, this is fine. Okay, so it gives you the property. This is in Denver. I'm going to copy that. Tells you who the owner is. Different look and feel, but you're still looking for the same things that we were looking for at the other state. Look at the value of this property. It's $148,000. Let's see if we can get a property map. Colorado's mapping and their online services are really, really good. So right here, I can go to the street view. Boom. That's a property I would buy the lien on. All day long. All day. So let's see how much is that lien. Okay, so I closed that. Let me go back. So this particular lien, it was the first one. It's $976. $976. I can't move it into a shopping cart because I'm not logged in. And it would be just as simple. If I was logged in, there would be another column and it would say buy. And you would click buy and then it asks you how you want to pay. ACH, credit card, or check. And then you own the lien. It's really that simple.
Do they send you a certificate or anything in the mail, or
nope.
It's all online, all electronic?
It's all electronic. What you'll get an email response, and it'll say that you own certificate number such and such. This is your confirmation number. And what you have to do is what I have a really detailed Excel spreadsheet. Well, it's more than Excel now, where I keep track of every one of the liens that I have. I mean, the date that I bought it, how much I invested in it, because, and I have a P.O. box. I'll go to a P.O. box and there'll be a check there from some county because somebody went down and redeemed, and I got to go check on my spreadsheet to see, well, who redeemed? I mean, it gets to the point where if you're buying all over the country, you've got to keep good records of this because you still got to turn in tax receipts. So I keep a pretty elaborate spreadsheet of all the liens that I own. But no, there is no actual certificate, well, except for in Mississippi. Mississippi will send you a piece of paper. Okay. Okay, so let me see what else. Is there anything else that I wanted to show you? I mean, that really is the whole process of buying a tax lien certificate online. I mean, I could go into more detail about it, but that's the process. And I don't know why a number of these seminars and the mentoring programs never take you to this process. I mean, that's really what it's all about. Okay, questions?
Yeah, I got one. George, is there a